I don't believe trade is the main driver of that, but I'll grant that it does happen sometimes.
Who cares about bringing in money? Okay, the whole idea of running like a business.
I don't really think it's something that you should take. I don't know.
The argument against charging people rent?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, typically the philosophical argument against
that's a legitimate criticism. Because, I mean, you look at why USA was even invented.
So, I don't know. Like, I think a recurring theme or a recurring trend is that
less and less government. I want personal responsibility. I want personal accountability.
say that I'm like left of liberal. I don't identify as like a communist or socialist or any of this stuff. Probably like why would that be revelatory to know that water boils in?
About people who are diplomats or ambassadors from other.
Did I say that? Did I say that it was theoretically possible to include like it increase?
Natural society is a society where it's survival of.
You can. What you're describing, you can't do. Is first of all not what I'm talking about. And second of all, we can't.
So basically, like, even your Lord and Savior Donald Trump didn't do the best job.
That nature, we refer to it as being conscious, or the conscious community.
So I think that gay marriage at the Supreme Court level actually...
No, but my man is in the building.
And I find it very interesting that fellow believers are...
Sure, there are examples, but these are minor examples compared to the ones that I'm giving. I'm putting down two.
It's unconstitutional, they shouldn't do it. But now they're arguing about, well, if they do it...
This video with a little blonde hair.
Yeah, that's what your mom said last night, too.
Let's ignore USAID. That's obviously upsetting you, and I get that. Because
no, it's not upsetting me.
There's a reason I'm successful. There's a reason why I'm liked.
This is exactly why Democrats...
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I am Sarah, the Raging Tomato, here bringing to you live another Throwdown Thursday. You know how the drill operates. Steve and I are going to sit here and talk about the topic for about an hour. And then, of course, if you've got some bull crap to say, you can line up to join the panel here in just a little bit. And then we'll all have some fun picking and prodding at poor Steve. Poor Steve gets booted all the time, and this time you can't boot him, but he's got a lot of stay. Steve is from the AM Wake Up Show. He also does the TED Talk Tuesdays with Ben Balderson. Go check it out, and I believe he is live streaming as well over on Rumble if you want to go give him likes, subscribe, shares, and all that good stuff, and your money. You can give him your money. We like that. Tonight's topic is team sport politics. Are we living in the new Roman Coliseum? Steve, I'm going to let you take it away. Go ahead.
The Roman Coliseum comparison is apt on so many levels. To start out with, the politicians themselves are merely the public relations firm for international oligarchy. They are replaceable, rented mules. You can, in fact, go to a website called apactracker.com to see which one of your local Congress critters is being rented currently by one of the largest lobbies in the existence. There are a lot of different ways you can find this out. I want to jump forward in time just a moment to tell my friend Sam Tripoli's story about when he figured out that all politics was team sports. And he said it was when he saw Hacksaw Jim Duggan and I believe the Iron Sheik, who were mortal enemies in the World Wrestling Federation, get pulled over, hanging out in the same car. They're buddies. And Sam had a little light bulb go off in his head. He was like, wait a minute, if they're friends, but they're enemies in the ring, then what's going on in the ring is being scripted. And it was a natural just shift in perspective to where Sam begun to see things that related to the kayfabe of professional wrestling. You know, in the news and in political events, and he would find out that, you know, mortal enemies in politics are hanging out together on the golf course. You used to see those pictures of Bill Clinton and Donald Trump together all the time. Good buddies. Good buddies. In fact, Trump lately been on the record saying, I always liked Bill Clinton. You know, it's a shame what he's going through right now with that whole Kid Diddle Island stuff. It's that's too bad, man. He's a great guy. Because when somebody's arm gets raised and you cut your promo for your next event or your next election, you go into the locker room, you high five each other, and then you count all the money you made from all of the people who fell in love with your character. And now they have a personal attachment to your character. And maybe there's parts of themselves that they identify with in your character. But they never think about the fact that you're playing a character. The audience doesn't, certainly. And certainly the audience isn't overly concerned about who is directing or producing the production that they're witnessing. They only know that they have now a bond on some level with this character, and they very much enjoy this character, and they would like to see this character succeed. They want this character to thrive, and they'll show their support by continuing to come to the events, by buying pay-per-view packages, by buying merch, all that kind of stuff. The overlap with politics is a one-to-one comparison. In fact, we're now at a point in time in the American arc where sitting senators are breaking the arms of a retired Marine who is being dragged away by DC police. Did you see this thing?
I did. I don't think he broke his arm on purpose. If you watch it, like everybody was just pulling. I think they thought he was just hanging on to the bar. I don't think they realized his arm was stuck in there because they were trying to maneuver him. And it was just a matter of like accidental circumstance. And the senator didn't even have his hands on him when he was just coming up to him and maneuvering, thinking
maybe we should roll the tape on that a little bit later.
No, I watched
show.
it a few times.
We should.
I don't think it was on purpose because everybody was behind him, right? They were all at his feet.
Number one, he had no business being anywhere near that in the first place. There were 3 Capitol Police on him. He should be gone on that alone for interfering with the police in the course of their job.
I mean, yes.
If it was an ICE raid, they would have shot him.
I can agree with that. But I also think he just saw a moment where he saw them struggling and thought, okay, maybe I need to go help. I mean, he was a pretty big guy. If I was in the middle of trying to I don't know, stop somebody, if I was one of those cops, right, and I was having a hard time and struggling, I would hope that a bigger man would come help me. But I do understand the interference, but he wasn't interfering negatively, right? He was just trying to help. But I don't think like the hand breaking, I wouldn't put that on the senator in that moment.
So
I would put that on. It was just they were pulling, and it was just an unfortunate circumstance
of a state functionary getting involved with the domestic security force, who 3 of them were trying to, tackle and restrain a former member of the international security force, which is, if that doesn't encapsulate what politics is right now, 3 cops trying to drag out 1 Marine while some dumb senator gets himself involved in it because he needs to be there for some unknown reason. He needs to interfere. That's where we're at on the political scale in general right now.
I mean, I don't know. I think you're thinking too far into it. I think it was just a man. I think it was just a man trying to help a situation, which he probably should have just backed off because that could have been a more dangerous situation. But I wouldn't put ill intent behind it. I wouldn't put a conspiracy behind it. I think
I'm not
saw a
putting a
situation.
conspiracy behind it. I'm saying it in and of itself is a metaphor for our current national situation. Now,
Okay.
I'm not going to attribute malice for stupidity in this case. I mean, it was at the very least, it was dumb as hell, and he had no business whatsoever getting
I agree with
involved
that.
in it. And at the very least, he should be whatever process for censure or some whatever, performative slap on the wrist anybody else would get, he should get. Now, on the other side of the aisle, the Congress critter that is now being investigated because of the self-immolation, unaliving of his former mistress and employee. That's a little bit of a different story too, but also analogous of the way that the government is currently operating at the very moment where we're learning more and more via, a lot of people are learning new things, and then a bunch of us are looking at what we've been looking at for the last 15 years. With the release of the Epstein files, and are now seeing people start to discuss what we were getting deplatformed for 7 years ago, 8 years ago, stuff like that. People are starting to realize, oh wait, this is how world governments operate on exploitation, trafficking, blackmail, influence peddling, and the leveraging of that information for political and financial favor. And that's the process. Well, if that's the process, if Tim Dillon is right, and every 4 years people just have to resign themselves to voting for the PDF file that most represents their values, that's a broken country. And I don't care which one it is. If it's all of them, which it's most of them, they're all broken. We should inherently reject any institution that claims authority that attains power via exploiting children.
I agree.
And yet, every 2 to 4 years, people get in line to participate in a consent ritual for PDF files, and they high-five each other over it, and whoever loses, then the people who win get to spend a couple of years dunking on them. And we've devolved so much into this era of politics of spite. And the reason that we're in an era of politics of spite is because everybody inherently recognizes that these freaking morons in DC do not represent us, do not have our values, do not share them, and do not want to see us succeed. They are plenty okay with bleeding out every last bit of resources that we have via the theft that is taxation. They're fine with that. They'll steal from us. And then they'll extort us. Say, hey, if you don't cough up your VIG every year, we're going to take your house. We're going to seize all of your assets. All that stuff you thought you owned, you don't. Let's see how quickly we can get to you will own nothing. Not be happy, just own nothing. Because the state can do that at their whim. They do it in multiple different ways. I have never seen a nation so litigious, so willing to incarcerate its own citizens for profit, not for rehabilitation or anything like that, but for profit, as this one. And I do not understand why there's a pathological need to get back in line during the midterms or during a presidential election to have pre-selected candidates who hate you and want you to die, who need to exploit children in order to get to that spot to begin with. It pains me to watch people get back in line for that every 2 to 4 years and go, I'm doing something that is morally superior to my neighbor. because they voted for a different PDF file, or God forbid, they didn't even pick a PDF file to fight for. What kind of unpatriotic goofball wouldn't just get right in line to throw down for their favorite PDF file? Like, that's the mentality that people are in. So the spite is because they know the politicians don't work for them, but they know that they can't envision a reality without them. There has to be some sort of system of rules, enforcement, and things like it. As much as we all hate regulations and things of that nature, there are on a handful of levels good ideas behind making sure people don't poison the water, making sure people don't poison the soil, that kind of, that's good. That's good. Having an HOA regulate how high your grass can, that's dumb. And that's not government, but that's a government functioning, that's a bureaucratic administration
on a smaller scale.
Yeah,
And that's all.
yeah.
Even
Well, it's
HOA
something that
is
I
all
think a lot of people can
politically-
relate to. Yeah, go ahead.
It's like even the HOAs are all politically charged with, via popularity, or are you, like, even I despise my HOA. I'll get like shit in the mail saying like, oh, your thing is like 3 inches to the left too far, and it's like, go home, go spend time with your children, go do something worthwhile. Like,
That's a
you're worried
nice way
about,
of saying play in a fire.
right? I mean, go do something else. And it's stuff like that just throws me out completely, of like, God, I would never choose to do that. I mean, I kind of inherited, being in an HOA, but I would never, ever go out of my way to choose to be in one. And I think more communities are going against, wanting to have HOAs now, if I'm correct, because of like, you got the fucking Karens, you got the, dorky tax accountants that don't have lives, and they can sit out there, and looking out their window all day, checking your grass length and where your trash bins are at. And if you put your trash out a night early because you're going on vacation, you get a letter for that. Oh my God. It and to me, it's like the smaller scale of the politics and the buffoonery that they think is, you get your little cliques and your Karen groups, and and then you have people who actually do care, who want to do some good in their community, but they're done with dealing with the bullshittery. And it's a one big mess. And I'm so turned off by it. I'm so turned off that people think that if they are given like some small dose of power, like what they do with it. Do you remember that study that they did about the prisoners and
the Stanford prison experiment is what you're referring to. Yeah.
And it's like, humans really do operate this way. It's if they ran that study again, you'd get the same exact results every time. Because when humans get some little piece of power, thinking, oh, well, I'm in charge of this, therefore I make the rules, therefore I can do what I want. And our politicians are no different. You can even see in Congress with the rules they make for thee and not for me kind of stuff, where they did like, they don't have to be a part of this, but you, the American citizen that they're making the laws for, do apply. They can change their salary. They can do this. They can do whatever they want. And it's like,
they can engage in insider trading, and they can grape children. Clearly, they can do that. They can they can grinder up a piece of ass and bang them out in the Senate Judicial Chamber. And what if you lose your job, Sarah? You just go to a think tank, or you get placed on the board of an international Fortune 500, and you ride that. There's no accountability.
Somebody said here that how many politicians do you think have committed a crime above a misdemeanor? And it was I forget what the percentage was, but I was like, that's incredible. Like the amount, and they get away with it. And it's like that.
There's
What
a
are we?
private fund, taxpayer funded, for Congress to quietly pay out lawsuits for all kinds of things, but most of them related to some sort of harassment or assault of a sexual nature. Yeah. Yeah.
It's mildly disturbing.
I would
I
never ask anybody to do this, but one of my oh gosh, just let it happen. That'd be great. Is for somebody to produce a list of the congression. There's a pharmacy inside Congress where they go. They can pay, and there's also a private pharmacy about 2 miles away from the Capitol where they go and pick up prescriptions or have prescriptions picked up. It would be a joy to find out what kind of drugs are legal drugs our Congress critters are on. It would be an absolute joy to see that, because these are the people who are ostensibly making decisions that affect your life and my life and our kids' lives and, Lord willing, our grandchildren's lives. These are the clowns that they say are making those choices. And we've seen a number of examples on both the right and the left where some dinosaur is being wheeled around Weekend at Bernie style. We had a president, a couple of them really, that have, were paraded around Weekend at Bernie style. There are 4 years of multiple Joe Bidens that all wound up walking into walls. Shane Gillis has a joke about Joe Biden turning into a Roomba. And it's the most accurate description I have ever heard of that guy on a stage anywhere. It was beautiful. Yeah. It's on Beautiful Dogs. Go check that out.
That's hilarious.
But I mean,
I got the vision of the Roomba moving around and then like bumping into a wall, or like falling off the edge, like, and then you get a notification like your robot's stuck. Your robot's hanging off a cliff.
your president has fallen into the orchestra pit again.
Now,
quick, call Jim Carrey.
You mentioned for public relations that these people are replaceable, but are they really? Because I'm finding that the more bad things that come out about people, the more they actually stay their ground and stay in the spot, and they get uplifted. Like, it's like we sweep stuff under the rugs. I think in context, I would say replaceable if you don't placate.
Well, certainly. Yeah. And they know that. And that's the thing. You get to stick around if you're a good earner. It's like any other criminal organization. And if you're a good earner, you keep your mouth shut. And
this sounds familiar with recent events.
Right?
I literally got told you should have just kept your mouth shut. You should have just kept your mouth shut, and it would have been a gravy train. Like, we're literally seeing that on a smaller scale level here in our own community.
100%. Yeah.
And I'm not even a politician. I'm not even a commentator. I'm not even I'm just a moderator. And to think that I am the balance between all left, right, center, up, down, over and around, atheists, Christians, whatever. And even I'm being told to shut my mouth. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, oh my God. And now I put that at a bigger scale. And people are running the country, or running Congress, senators, representatives, so on, like lobbyists even. And that's a scary thought, to think that you can't stop something if you're against it. If you believe it's morally wrong, you can't stop it, because you will lose the very position that you have to stop it if you try.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which is why there's a very high sudden departure ratio for whistleblowers in general, whether they're corporate or federal or state government level. But the average lifespan of whistleblowers diminishes rapidly after they go public. And look at what happened with the OpenAI guy, right? And remember when Tucker Carlson had Sam Altman on his show, and he was like, "So, you had an employee. They got blow the whistle on you." And and they had their little back and forth, and Altman is like, "Are you calling me a a murderer? And he's like, no, I'm not. That's just interesting, and then does his little thing. But yeah, I mean, that's just one. Do you remember when all of the airplanes were falling out of the sky a couple of years ago? And then there was two different whistleblowers that wound up right before they were going in to give depositions that wound up stepping on a rainbow awful quick. And it was on, for Boeing. There were two Boeing whistleblowers, and both of them wound up graveyard dead. Yeah, and
Interesting.
yeah. I mean, it's a thing that happens a lot. And when they happen at the federal level, sometimes you get the Arkan side, right? The Clinton special, where it's a double tap, or it's one, but you're also off a tree with an electric cord, and but your hands are tied, but you still, that happens. So, and this is just stuff that people are expected to roll with and not recognize as a well-funded, well-armed international criminal organization.
It would be interesting if we took, politics and just turned it upside down and shook it and see what fell out, like it would be very interesting. And I think that's not the best interest of the American people, that we operate the country under this, what I would consider a very corrupt system. I mean, even the insider trading alone, like if me or you did that, we would go to prison. I find that to be odd, that like the people who are making the rules and calling the shots get to have first dibs on making the money off of calling the shots.
If you or I gamble in a way that whatever state you may live in doesn't see fit, or a way that the federal government doesn't see fit, we go to prison. The federal government gets to let Wall Street gamble with all of our money. And when they go broke, the federal government steps in and says, I don't care if you're asked out, these institutions are too big to fail. And so we're going to save them, even though we let them gamble with your money and they lost all of it. I'll tell you who didn't lose all of it. Some of the people at those banks, they turned into multi-billionaires, 100 billionaires. Overnight. And it's about to happen again. We're about to get rug pulled again. We've been operating on an artificially inflated economy for nearly 10 years.
Now,
go ahead.
What if, in order to curb that, my only thought process would be to, as an American, right, if I wanted to kind of go against the grain and work away from that process to where we don't get the rugs pulled out from under us, would be to not be dependent upon the government for all of this type of stuff. For instance, instead of getting mortgages, paid cash, instead of having credit cards, pay cash, having your own, maybe not necessarily going completely off grid, but trying your best to get as off grid as possible in any means possible, and being more self-reliant. And then they can't do, because you wouldn't have had this kind of corrupt shit if it was like the 1800s, right? Not in terms of if the whole establishment fails, as do the citizens. Now, when you had like the 1920s, that's when they started, taking off with the stock markets. The industrial revolution came to play. Capitalism really was chiming in, and people became more dependent, especially in the cities. But overall, if more people went as far off grid as they possibly could, I think we would see less of that.
I certainly agree. If you starve the beast, then you remove the threat that is the beast. Now, while the beast is starving, it's going to be very angry. It's going to lash out at anyone or anything that comes near it. So you do have to be wary about that. The problem is that it's the corruption is a feature. It's not a bug. And it's been there for a very, very, very long time. People, can have Yeah, honestly, at this point, it's 2026 and it's already broken as hell. So if you want, pick your own starting point, whether it's, November 22nd, 1963, or, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, 1913, or you could go back to the very first time that a sitting U.S. president sent its army against its own citizens in the Whiskey Rebellion. And you could go all the way back to, what was that, 1796 or something like that, I believe. Maybe, yeah. At any rate, that could be the instance when, the contractor, the compact that the Constitution and the people that were elected to represent it and uphold it, that could be the initial breaking of it at that point, and that was in the late 1700s. So it's been a minute. So the problem is, you can't expect a good person, a genuinely good soul, one individual, let alone the typical type of person who seeks political office and the power that comes with it and the absolute corruption that comes with it, because it's not like it's a secret. You can't expect them to go into a system that is fundamentally corrupt by design and expect them to come out and produce anything other than fundamentally corrupt legislation that benefits the people who placed them in that position. You would be it's the definition of insanity.
Well, I mean, what I don't think that this is new news to anybody. I think we all, the average American, knows the system is corrupt, right? Anybody who watches Fox News, watches CNN, has a Twitter account, has an Instagram, Facebook. I think everybody's pretty well aware that the system is corrupt. Why have we not stopped it?
Well, because it's not up to us, because your vote doesn't mean a thing. And so as long as people keep believing in the consent ritual that is voting for a pre-selected candidate in a rigged system, as long as people keep doing that and thinking that they're going to have a different result, we're going to not just see the similar situation, but we're going to watch it get increasingly worse. People ask me, as I'm sure they've asked you, as I'm sure people who are listening now have been asked or have freely offered, as to who they think the worst president of their lifetime has been. My answer is always yes. Every single one of them has been progressively worse than the last, and it's only gone one direction. And all of the trend lines have only gone one direction. I agree with you that we should all take steps every single day to extricate ourselves from an inherently corrupt system ran by people who hate us and want us to die. I would love to pay cash for a house. I don't know a lot of people who currently can. Medium home price is up around $425 or something like that.
The system's built that way.
Yeah, well, yeah,
The
absolutely. I
system is
agree.
built so that you can't pay cash.
I agree with you 100%. I do. You used to could be able to do that. There are some people who have been able to do really great land deals where they can do, 30, 40% cash down and then make cash payments direct to, the property owner until the official deed is transferred. Stuff like that. Those are great. You have to almost gray market it at this point. But I'm a fan of the gray market. I'm a fan of, gray market economies. Gray market economies make for some of the best capitalism because you don't have a third entity coming in as the middleman. Like almost all of our interactions that we have with other people on a day-to-day basis exist in an anarchistic state. That almost all of our interactions are either for commerce, right? Or to get paid, or they're voluntary. And nobody is showing up with a standing army to take from anyone else. And if there's a disagreement, most people choose to part and just not continue it. Most people don't pull out a gun or call 8 of their friends or anything like that. So it's not necessarily the middleman that we need to have a peer-to-peer exchange. The problem is when we do that, the government has their hands in both of our pockets, and then they have a buddy come in and take a little piece off the top when we're exchanging money back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not those rulers that are even needed in those exchanges. What are needed are rules. Those are good. Eventually you have to have enforcement mechanisms for them. But most of the time, most of our exchanges go off in a form of pure anarchy that is 100% harmless, seems to fall in line exactly with natural law and first principles, and we don't even think about it. It's not until somebody brings up the team sports politics that all of the sudden you have to identify as this or you have to identify as that. And then when you put the uniform on, you have to have all of the same talking points and you have to all be on the same page if you want to function as a team. And so critical thinking, pattern recognition, the ability to admit that your team fucked up, all of those things go out the window. And now you're just on the team. It's a very captive and destructive ideology.
What does that leave for the people who don't want to join a team?
Independence, freedom, more freedom, the ability to recognize patterns and share that information without having confirmation bias or outlet bias get in the way. Very rarely. Look, here's the problem is it's not even the problem. It's the most beautiful thing about it, Sarah. Most people don't want to get fucked by whores. Most people don't, right? Mm-hmm. It's just not something that it is, oldest profession and all that. And a lot of people seem to, at least acknowledge the existence of it. But most people don't wake up going, you know what? I want to be fucked by a whore today. Well, the problem is politicians are whores. And the international oligarchy are their pimps. And the people, let me finish this. The people who vote are the Johns, the Tricks, the customers for all of the whores. And you can tell because every time they get an itch, they put their money up and they go pick a favorite whore. And that whore fucks them. And then that whore takes their money and they give it to the pimp. And the pimp gets as many hoes as they can through whatever lobbying means they can do it or whatever blackmail means they have, because as soon as you're tricking for me, I've got some shit on you. So, right. I mean, hey, now you're definitely in my pocket. So get out there and turn as many as you can, or we're going to get us a new hoe. And when you've got a little too much mileage on you, we'll get rid of you. But because the American people have this, adult children of alcoholics mentality when it comes to team sports politics, they keep getting back in line to, if you're voting right now, you are dude number 835 in the Bonnie Blue train every time. Every single time. And every time you think about voting, I want you to think about being Dick 837 in that freaking. I want you to picture it. I want you to picture how blasted out it was. And I want you to picture about that's your vote. That's what you're doing every single time.
How does a person switch over to the being a character? Because like the way I look at it is everybody starts at this small scale moment. Like right now, you and I are here. I have a small channel, and eventually we're gonna be big and major or whatever. I don't know. You never know. But at what point does it switch and you become now that character for the team politics? Like how would you say that that occurs, and what, like, is it when they get paid to say and do specific things? Somebody sees them and they say, "Oh, that's a good person. We would like them as a uh, uh,
An ally, an asset.
spokesman, an
Yeah.
ally, an asset." So, like, but like, how does that flip? Right, because I think most people start off with something that they believe in, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
even you right here, right now, there's something you believe in
Mhm.
and you believe in it strongly and you're on here, you're talking it, yada, yada, yada. But then maybe somebody comes and says, hey, we like what you have to say. Keep saying it and we're going to pocket you some money, by the way.
Oh well, yeah. So it helps if you legitimately believe the propaganda that you're repeating on your show voluntarily. That's
Mhm.
perfect. That's perfect because that makes you a useful idiot. You don't even have to corrupt a useful idiot. They'll do it themselves. And on YouTube, certainly with a handful of shows, in fact, it's probably internationally a ton of shows are used as money laundering fronts. There's, in some cases, several $1,000s that pass through some of these larger shows per broadcast. There's lots of anonymous Gmail accounts that are subscribers to a number of different shows. Comedians do this stuff. They'll
Really?
buy they'll buy views. Yeah, it's they'll have sock accounts that subscribe to their Patreon, subscribe to their YouTube channel, stuff like that. Because you get advertisers and you get more from advertisers the more you're doing in numbers.
Mhm.
So now you're incentivized and you get, all of your deals are off if you get caught doing it. But at least up into a certain point, a lot of people who are doing this find it, worth it to go ahead and just risk it a little bit because once you get those ad deals, well, now you're doing great, and you couple that with inflated numbers and people that subscribe or people that are laundering money in order to subscribe to your show. And
Mhm.
man, and it's all because of what you believe in that you're saying. In your mind, that's your success. You're
Well,
not corrupted. You're saying what you think, but you're being used to funnel people right back into that two-party illusion where voting in a rigged system in a duopoly is supposed to produce a different result than it has every always.
what about politicians then? Like, what is their turning point? Because I would think that most people go and want to run. They'll start locally, running for their local PTA, and then maybe running for their local, um, what would you call it?
City council, something
City
like that.
council, and then eventually
Yeah.
making their way up, and then
State
eventually making their way up even
legislature.
bigger.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to say that they start with good intentions, and what would be the flip for that?
Well, again, it's the putting even decent people with good intentions into an inherently corrupt entity.
Mhm.
The entity itself changes the person because the entity doesn't operate without the corruption. So a couple of different things happen. You play ball and oh shoot, my camera's been doing this all week, man. I'm not sure what's going on with it.
Look,
But I'll fix it.
we're both going to go Avatar mode. We're just going to talk like this.
It's all
Oh,
right.
this is the point where we have to hide our
I
faces because we're
think I got it.
speaking the truth.
I think I got it. But the problem is it's the system itself that runs on corruption. The Hollywood is the exact same way. Fortune 500 companies operate with similar levels of corruption and espionage and spycraft and surveillance. I mean, to bring it back to the HOA analogy, the HOAs are incorporating video and audio surveillance into their bureaucratic procedures. I have a friend who lives in Guadalajara, Mexico, and in Mexico, a lot of the neighborhoods are just gated. They're gated communities. They've been like that for hundreds of years. That's just how village neighborhoods were set up. And his is now they backed off on it for a few months. They're going to revisit it, but they were trying to demand facial recognition before you entered your neighborhood. Yes, he made that face too, and he said, "Well, we'll sell the house and move. I'm not going to do that." And he talked to a couple of his neighbors, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, that is crazy." So they shut it down for a few months, but it is going to be revisited, and that's the direction that a lot of this is going. So again, if all of these systems operate on that, inherently, where it's, corrupt on purpose, it's reliant on trafficking and exploitation and all kinds of horrible things, then even people who go in with good intentions still have to operate within that cesspool. How long did people fall for and hear, "We're gonna drain the swamp"? Because it was understood and recognized that the American federal government is a cesspool of horrible criminals. And that's what Trump ran on in 2015. And he ran on it saying, "It's both of them. And I know because I rented them."
Let me ask you this. How much between politics and Hollywood is intertwined in a dirty, corrupted way, do you think?
One of America's most beloved presidents was the president of the Screen Actors Guild. You tell me. Ronald Reagan was president of the Hollywood Screen Actors Guild. It's like since there's been a Hollywood, there's been a relationship with the federal government and the American Crime Syndicate, which was the union of the Sicilian Mafia and the Jewish Mafia in the late 1800s, post-Reconstruction era of the Civil War.
Right.
And that became the American Crime Syndicate. That's where you get the Lucky Luciano and Meyer Lansky. Meyer Lansky worked for the government. A freaking Jewish mob boss worked for the government.
That's a scary thought.
We've had he was in Ford's office. We've had a number of overlaps with the American Crime Syndicate and the FBI and the CIA and the DEA and the ATF. It goes on and on and on, but specifically to Hollywood, the CIA itself has a liaison's office for Hollywood. They have one in Langley, they have one in New York City, they have one in LA. They have an office in Toronto for that exact reason too, because a lot of people in Hollywood shoot movies in Toronto because it's cheaper to do it there, but it still kind of looks like you could fake LA in it, or you could fake New York or something like that. So they have an office, a liaison's office in Toronto too. There's if anyone is interested in the overlap between the entertainment industry and the federal government, please go read Weird Scenes from Inside the Canyon by Dave McGowan. It goes back to even before the hippie movement, but talks really in detail about how the hippie movement particularly was something that was a Langley-based social experiment. And all of the different people that were in the hippie movement, whether it was bands or, people like Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert, Ram Dass, those guys all had CIA connections or FBI connections. A lot of them were informants. The guy who was the sound man for the Grateful Dead was CIA connected. Jerry Garcia's dad was Navy intelligence. The guy who wrote all of Jerry Garcia's lyrics was Navy intelligence. It's.
I think Candace Owens was saying something about this recently. How
She'll do everything
everyone
but say
has
Dave McGowan's name. Yeah.
Well, but she was saying how everyone is like somehow connected to the military. Like their dad was this general and their dad was this lieutenant, and
right. Which isn't. Look. A ton of people from that era all come from military families because it was right after World War II, but it is odd how many people who make it to the upper levels of entertainment in general or politics have connections to very high level military intelligence or, intelligence agencies. Nepotism runs it though. Right. This is why I'll tell you a quick story about how I figured out that the federal government sucked and was rigged and, didn't really operate on a representative republic level whatsoever. When I was 16 years old, I grew up in central Indiana, and there was a guy who got elected to Congress from the district that I grew up in. I grew up in the district that gave you guys Mike Pence. I left before that, wasn't my fault. Had nothing to do with it. The guy that Mike Pence replaced was a dude named David McIntosh. David McIntosh went to East Noble High School, Kendallville, Indiana. And my dad was one of his teachers and his football coach. And so when he wanted to run for office, political office, David McIntosh, he carpetbagged into the district and then, called my dad up. Hey, you're my favorite teacher. Let's get together. I'm going to be doing this, and my dad knew a lot of different people in behind the town. He'd been there forever. And his baseball coach was a World Series Brooklyn Dodger guy named Carl Erskine. And so he was alive and very well connected. So David McIntosh was, trying to tap in to as many different networks as he could. And my dad volunteered me to work on his campaign. And because I was personally brought in by the guy running for office, I was the Nepo kid, right?
Yeah.
So I got treated like I was supposed to be there. I didn't know fuck all about any of this. I'm a 16-year-old piece of shit kid. I take LSD on the weekends. Why am I here? But I got a ground floor special treatment campaign staff experience at 16 years old.
Because you were brought in.
Because I was the Nepo kid. And, boy, was it gross. David McIntosh wound up resigning from office after, I think, 2 terms. He just got so disgusted with what DC was and how it operated and what he saw and what he had to keep his mouth shut about that he was like, I'm gone. I'm done. I think he's on a couple of different policy boards, right, or something like that. Now, he taught at American University in DC for a number of years. But it really, how the politicians joke about nobody wants to see how the sausage is made, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. I got to. And it was disgusting and it was criminal as shit. And this is I'm passing out Christian Coalition voter guides on election day to people coming in to vote, knowing damn well that on Saturday night, me and about a half a dozen of the other campaign staff were high as fuck on cocaine, fucking just raging. And I turn around, 2 days later and I'm handing out the Christian Coalition, value voter guides. It was just, the whole thing was a disgusting performance. You could tell that everybody by the end of a campaign was fucking sick of it. They all just wanted to get the reward. And the reward is, hey, now we're going to DC and everybody's set for life, which didn't
Well,
necessarily happen,
but
but
you know
that's
what,
what's
though?
being dangled in front of them.
I have a theory about the Bible grift because so many people want to tap into the Bible grift, and it's starting to actually piss me off. And before I dive into that, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for open panel. And if you guys want to start shuffling backstage, you can do so now. And we'll open her up in 5 minutes. But you probably want to get back there now. But the Bible grift gets me because I call them the big box churches. There's the mega churches, right? But I call them the big box churches because they remind me of like a giant Costco, and you go in and they make you feel good, and they use all of these biblical talking points because it makes you feel good, right? When people I watched this whole thing about how in advertisements and how they can make you emotional and then make you this and then make you that and then boom, ask for money, right? And the church grift, the Bible grift, that's exactly what does that, and it drives me fucking nuts. And I want to see it fail. And the reason why I want to see the Bible grift fail is because I think there are true Christian advocates out there who really have good talking points and really want to represent in properly, but they keep getting drowned out by what you would call like the political team sports, or yep, that person works. We'll sponsor them or this or that or another, and blah 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 blah. And I think that's what's happening. So we can't get the good stuff. We can't get the people who actually are living the Christian values because it's being grifted so hard, and it drives me absolutely nuts.
Yeah, when I describe, you're absolutely correct, and it reminds me of the TV preachers I grew up seeing in the 80s and
The
90s.
evangelical,
Oh yeah, the
500 Club.
Yeah, that guy Pat Robertson, Jimmy Swaggart, Jim and Tammy Baker, like all that stuff, dude. And my grandfather was a pastor, and he hated those clowns. And yeah, if somebody brought him up around him, he'd just kind of roll his eyes and be like, "Well, there's a reason that Jesus flipped that table that they're all sitting at. But anyway, I'm gonna go over here now, and like that was all he'd really say about it.
Right.
But I had a point that I was gonna make, and now I can't remember what it was because we got off on that. My grandpa was a badass though.
You were diving in on how they're all doing cocaine, and just as you're handing out the slips, and a lot of people left because of they couldn't take it.
Yeah, and it's just it's meant to either suck you in or grind you down, which is again very analogous to the mafia because it's a criminal organization that runs off of theft and extortion and violence and threat of violence to its own citizens, which it monitors against their consent every single day. Yeah, there should at some point be a Third Amendment conversation about what cell phones are, because like according to the Third Amendment, we're not supposed to involuntarily quarter troops. And that's effectively what we're doing with military intelligence with our phone. We're quartering them. So
elaborate further on that one.
Well, how many different just US agencies are monitoring your phone right now?
They probably got scared after they tapped in the first couple times, but I don't know.
The answer is typically between 13 to 15 for all of us. Sometimes it's a couple of more because they all can tap into the NIA feeds, the national fucking intelligence. They can all tap into those. Every point on your phone, anything that's connected via RFID, via Bluetooth, anything like that, all of that intelligence all of that data is being sucked up and stored and could be at any point weaponized against you. Now, you didn't consent to this. This is just something the state does. They used the Edward Snowden to disclose it. You know, what, 11 years ago, 12 years? Oh, it was more than that. Yeah, it was almost 15 years ago, the Snowden, maybe 2014. But Snowden told everybody, hey, they're spying on you. And everybody went,
Well,
maybe.
it's I mean, we kind of already knew that, though, right?
You
Like,
didn't know your TV was spying on you.
but we knew. I mean, it's especially if you have a smart TV. I mean, like, we know. It's just how much do you care, right? And you don't care until it actually directly affects you, and then you start seeing problems come from it, so on and so forth.
Well, that is inherently the problem, is that we've been trained on some level to ignore anything that doesn't immediately impact precious little you, not you personally, but precious little me personally, and everybody else. Like it's so, if people never give a shit until it's too late, then you can get away with a lot. And Jordan Peterson gave an excellent example of this on Joe Rogan's show once. He said, people would naturally resist, waking up one morning and being greeted by, crazy totalitarians that want to control every aspect of their life. So what they do is they push and push and push until you go, hey, what are you doing? And they stop. They don't back up, but they stop. And then you get sucked back into life and get comfortable and get distracted, and they push and push and push and push and push. And you go, hey, what are you doing? And they stop. They don't retreat, but they stop. And you go back, and so on and so forth, until one day you wake up and you are miles away from where you started out and where your original boundaries were, where you're like, hey, that's too much. And so much more too much happens along the way. And then one day you wake up and Donald Trump is trying to sell you stable coins, CBDCs, tell the peace president is getting entangled in another Middle East war openly on behalf of another country, which has nothing to do with America first. Just totally fumbled the Epstein files after blatantly covering for him. Yeah. And this is the right had the moral high ground for a moment in their minds when they were saying, hey, man, it's Donald Trump, or it's Bill Clinton, it's all these Anthony Weiner and all of these people are depraved. Yes, they are. All of these people are criminal. Yes, they are. All of these people should be, fed to the chipper. Yes, they should. 100%. The moment their team is also in the crossfire, they're like, well, hey, look, everybody likes young girls, right? And there's so many people in that mainstream alternative media right-wing echo chamber that have been doing that.
Right.
And it's disgusting.
No, I agree. James comes in with the Big 10, says, inspired by a commercial that asked if I would be an angel for a helpless tomato, because every day innocent tomatoes are annoyed, talked over, and spicolied, and they're crying out for help in the arms of the angel.
You could threaten people with Sarah McLachlan until they pay up.
True. Actually, I'm rather disappointed because my chat knows better. And I put the goal out there, and I have the the Cash App and all those other things, and they know the rules, right? And James understands the rules. He's usually a very fond of our rules here. He actually loves our rules so much he says, fuck the goal, right? But he likes to contribute to the goal, even though he yells at the goal too. But the chat, it's been very disheartening because I've got a fun lineup backstage of people waiting to come up on panel. I'm debating if I should even bring them up or not. I mean,
right?
What would you? I feel like I should just shut down and go to bed. And Steve, you and I can have this conversation another day, and fuck them. Sometimes I just want to do that. I just want to do that.
It is your show.
It is my show. We could I'm starving too right now. And I still have some leftover sloppy Joe that I made from scratch the other night. And I'm like dying to go get some. I could just turn this into like a short break and just play nothing, and while I go have a lunch break, and then we come back when they're ready to let us come back,
You could play what hardcore Christian death metal over men's figure skating until the
Yes.
goal is met.
I could do that. I could make them suffer, and that would be fun.
Right?
Big Starship with the 2 says, Alex sent me here. Glad I caught you live. I don't know if that was Alex from Playing with Fire or Alex Wi-Fi Gospel, or there's like 5 different Alexes I know. But shout out to whoever said. I'm guessing it was Playing with Fire. But I'm glad you're here, Big Sarge. Leo sending the big 20 says for the knockups.
All right.
The knockups. What are the knockups?
I have no idea.
What are the knockups, Neo?
It's worth $20 though, so.
Hey, whatever. I'll
Right?
knock up the knockups. Shout out to the
Don't knock the knockups.
Fair enough. Steve, are you ready to meet your panel? I've got some fun ones hanging out backstage.
Oh, yeah.
Some people who haven't been here in a while, too. I'm really excited. Ooh. All right, let's kick it off. Here we go. All right. Sometimes I have to like turn my camera off because it, for some reason, likes to stall out on my end and doesn't want to. It's like it's playing the video, but I can't see it. Everything just freezes for me. I'm sure it works.
Oh, no pants. That's what it is.
Steve, do you have pants on?
I have pants on.
Do you?
There you go. You owe me $20, Bane Bear.
I don't have pants on, so he was time right.
Here, what's $20 now?
$20 is $20. Pay up,
you
bitch.
Put it in writing, Bane Bear.
You did put it in writing.
I did. New time. Steve, I'm curious of your search history. Like, when's the last time you saw a vagina? A human vagina? Like,
this morning.
Aren't you married?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to know who wears pants. That's a better question.
He likes that BBL action. He is definitely not about supporting the big.
Who doesn't like BBLs?
I'm just saying, dental lectures that were more interesting than you. I'm going to head out. I just wanted to say hi, Sarah. You know I love you. Good night.
Hi, Bane Bear. Thanks for jumping in.
Hey, you're $20.
Right. Good try.
Yeah, pay $20.
Yeah. It's fun when they're wrong on every count right off the bat. That's great.
Right.
Like just big fat L up front from the first one.
Can I ask you a question, Steve? I'm a little confused about something you said.
Hold on, before we do, because I'm aggravated at my chat. So I think we need to incentivize or yell at the chat to I don't know. We've been here an hour, guys. We've been here an hour. You know, I go far out of my way to bring these amazing, wonderful guests on here. And Admiral Gibbs is about to tear a new asshole into Steve. And I'd love to watch the two of them duke this out. And I'd be very curious to see what Pumping Vinyl has to say. Duck, did you get your kazoo yet? You're muted, darling. I'll take that as a no.
How the fuck?
Because if you had...
no, I don't have a kazoo yet.
What a failure.
Sorry.
What a failure. See, I paid $20 for a product and I'm not receiving it. You are grifting, sir. But but I'm really disappointed with the chat because we've got all these great topics and I'm actually working on some other debates and panels. And what's it worth? What's it worth anymore to do all of this work if you guys are gonna like shortchange me on a wonderful night like this? Anyways,
I'll 3D print you a kazoo, Sarah.
You know, it's not for me. It's for Duck. Duck needs the
I'll 3D
kazoo.
print Duck a kazoo. That'll be $45.
You could
Duck.
go to
I would give it
the
to her.
dollar store and get a fucking kazoo. Anyways,
They're all 7-packs. It's all a 7-pack. I don't know what to do with it.
You
for
affix
$1.
it to the exhaust pipe of random vehicles.
What?
Throw a kazoo in there.
I could make 7 Phoenix kazoo cars. So that's from Party City. So it's a bargain.
Oh goodness.
Iotin
is listening. She's paying attention. Be like Iotin and be a good audience member and do this. She says, pay your tomato tax so we can listen to these fine folks argue. This chat doubles as protection for Duck. Duck, you got a $10 credit, although I'm hesitant to grace it upon your existence. Thank you, Iotin.
Appreciate you.
Fair enough. All right, Gibbs, you had a question. Go ahead.
Just before we dive in, I just want to make sure I heard something right because Squish bit confused. I'm interviewing a realtor this week, and she prefers cash buying. I bought my last truck cash. I bought the truck before that cash.
Yeah,
I bought thousands of acres cash.
Awesome.
When you said we can't buy land cash,
no, I didn't.
I need you to.
No, I said that.
Clarify. I'm just looking confused.
Yeah, for sure. I said that most people aren't walking around with $423,000 on them. That's what the average American is not doing that. That's what Yeah, congratulations. Go with God. Most people aren't doing that, and I would think that you would have to recognize that given the national median income, right? Like that is something you would agree to.
I was just before we dived in. I just wanted to clarify that before I said something stupid, which has been known to happen now and again.
For sure.
But I'll let one of these gentlemen take first attack, and before we go, because I wanted to ponder that.
Pumping Vinyl. It's been a while since you've joined our wonderful, amazing panel, so I wanted to tap in.
I didn't really know what I was walking into, and then all of a sudden I started hearing, about someone's going to tear someone a new asshole, and then I'm looking at a sausage fest. I don't even really know if this is my scene tonight.
Well, what
it's not gay if the balls don't touch.
We could shave Gibbs, and you could pretend.
I might have to check out. I'm like one of those. I don't want to use the wrong word here again on your show. So
curious.
No, thanks.
Pumping Vinyl, what are your thoughts on politicians? Do you think that there's like some kind of team sport playing? Are they bought? Are they purchased? Or you just like, leave me alone, I've got my music?
I think, there's a lot of money in bots and stuff like that. Yeah. I agree.
Fair
but
enough.
I guess I just feel all of a sudden like I just was saying I just felt like I kind of walked into something awkward. Like maybe I need to go back to the vinyl community and where I belong. I'm not sure this Manosphere panelverse is really like. I don't know. Okay, I guess
tonight's topic is not Manosphere oriented. We haven't done Manosphere content in a while, but tonight
it's a little bit Manosphere.
This is the political scene, the Hollywood scene maybe-ish, and conspiracy corner for sure.
Well, we got one more. I guess I'll hang out. I don't know if this is my scene, but I'll hang out if, like, a lady comes up and wants to, make it more...
Speed date you?
Less. Yeah.
All right. Send the all call out to the ladies. Pumping Vinyl. This lovely lad right here is seeking a lovely Mrs. Vinyl. If you're interested in music, daydreaming, and making odd videos, this is the man for you. He'll even make you your own own
also,
album cover.
Sausage fests really are not my thing. I will make you an album cover if you got the look.
Apparently, I already have album cover.
I did show the album cover one time already. What's up?
It looks a lot like me. It was kind of creepy how much it looks like me, and it was from like the 70s. And she was like,
it was not even. It was 68.
68. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What album?
It was like a Japanese, easy listening saxophone, sensual saxophone record.
Rad.
The lady was like straight naked on it too, and I was like, oh my.
They had a thing
mhm.
back in the 60s about putting hot women on covers on really boring records,
right?
Make them more appealing. But
We should go back to that.
Go sub.
We
Pumping
definitely should
Vinyl.
go back to that.
That's the real reason I came up here, was to plug my channel. We're this close to 800 subs. We could do it right now. So I just wanted to throw that out there. As long as we don't have a lady coming up to keep me company. So
Am I like not a lady?
well, you're sort of like one of the boys. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying.
I don't count. I don't count as a man, but I also don't count as a woman either. That's I don't even know what to do with that.
Well, hey, if it makes you feel any better, next force doctrine debate, I'm going to define woman as any man that's physically weaker than me.
I do have a force doctrine debate coming up. It is on the works. I'll keep you posted, Gibbs, for it.
A woman is anybody weaker than me physically. So
I think I could take on your. You wrestled in college, Gibbs. I think you're full of shit though, so I think I could take that challenge.
Fair enough. And what are your thoughts? Chime in on this. Tell me what you think. Hold on. It always takes him a minute to get his mic going. I don't know why you don't test it before I tell you to talk. He was taking a shit. He's just wiping. Little hand washing going on. He's figuring it out.
He'll get there. He'll get there.
You can do it, Ant.
Is that better?
Yay! Okay. Every time.
No, this is something different. I think the headset might actually be physically failing, because before it was just I'd forget to make sure that it was on default instead of on line in, which I don't use for my microphone. This is I checked the settings. So I was like, oh, they're good to go. I'm wondering why absolutely no response to anything I said.
So yeah, what do you think about the team sport politics style?
I hate it. It's the unfortunate reality of our system today. It's what it's become. It was never intended to be that way, but well, here we are. I don't know how you really go about getting rid of it or stopping it, because technically, like
talking about.
Huh?
Go ahead, Ant.
Keep going.
Hold on, TK. I'll get to you in a minute, baby.
Damn it! Just
you don't think that that's how it was intended?
No, I don't think. It wasn't intended to be that way, but it became that way. I guess it makes it simpler for people to digest if they only have to worry about one of two parties. And even then, that's like I wonder if people really are paying attention to what their representatives are actually pushing for.
Mm-hmm. Well, question. You said I don't think that that's how they intended for this to happen, right? But I mean, there's got to be some weird way where corruption has been with us from the get-go. I mean, maybe not. But I would think if I wanted to create a world in which I could run all the rules and make everything operate to my advantage, I would set up the system exactly how it is, because it's like a false freedom thought process. It's set up in a way where Congress always wins no matter what, yada, yada, yada. Do you think that they actually didn't intend for it to be this way?
Well, no, they were very much against political parties, the founding of the country.
A handful were. That's correct. Yeah, a handful. Yeah,
Washington
40, 70, 30, something like that. Yeah.
Washington was hardcore.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't a monolith for sure.
Fair enough.
But you say that, and then they form parties right off the bat to get rid of it, to get the Constitution implemented with the Federalists and Anti-Federalists. And then right after Washington's gone, you see them rally around Jefferson and Adams. So, I mean, political parties have been something that we've had pretty much day one since the Articles of Confederation have been dissolved. I have a hot take, but I'm going to wait for TK here. He looks like he was ready to fight.
No. I wasn't.
I was going to say... Oh, go ahead.
Well, shout out to James Farley for sending in the big 5. I'm still upset with my chat. That dono goal, I would not recommend letting that timer tick out tonight. I just wouldn't.
Yeah, what? I'm actually How long do you like ramble when you start doing your little thing? Are you gentlemen obviously used to her doing this, or because I'm sorry, Sarah, I didn't. When can I come in and talk?
Oh, you want to come? I mean, the Thursday night is 1 hour of me with the feature, right? And this is where we're laying out all of their claims and getting through the main information, and then we open the panel up. That's Thursday night. Monday nights are a little bit different right now. If I'm hosting a debate, then it's a 2-hour mark of the debate, and then when the debate ends, then we open the panel up.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's the gentleman to your left. I just can't stand him. And what are you doing, Balder? Last time I was up here, I saw you had no boot next to your name. What does that mean, sir? If you don't mind, I don't want to listen to him.
I put that on. I put no boots on because any panelists who showed up before the show started, it was kind of like an all call. Whoever's back there, here's your incentive. They can't be booted from the show. Like right now, TK, somebody could choose to send in a fine $10 and say boot TK, and that would put you backstage for 10 minutes, right? Yeah. But last Monday night, I tried something a little different to incentivize people to join at the very start of the show for the conversation. And anybody who did, I put it next to all of their names that said no boot.
No boot. Okay. It's good because Balderson, do you feel special when you get something like that next to your name, Balderson, because you know that you're going to get booted immediately because you ain't worth a shit?
Balderson never gets booted. I think you've been booted once.
Why are you?
And it was actually by Flo fucking with me, and him and I are friends.
Yeah, so, yeah. It was like a funny boot.
This guy's a moron, but let him talk.
I'm a moron. I'm a fucking moron.
I mean, so far you're batting 1,000.
Thank you. Do you know what that means, Balderson? It means I'm cranking dingers.
Oh, I was being sarcastic, but continue.
Oh. You can't be sarcastic.
I mean,
I thought we were on the same team. I like the glasses. I thought we were on the same team.
Of course, admits the sarcasm also.
You know,
I
happen to know this guy in real life, and I know that the last thing he's concerned about is what goes on the internet. So, I mean, but you know that everybody is welcome.
Okay, so right now, you guys up there surrounded by your queen, or being surrounded by your queen right now, you guys feel really strong tonight.
You understand that surrounded, she would be on the sides of us. We're actually,
you know what I meant.
Her, you are still mad. I meant
you're on each side of her. You know what I meant, dude. Don't do that.
No, I'm to the left.
For you to not act like an idiot
because I was
really.
I'm to the left.
Balderson, when do you talk, dude?
Because
you know something about you, motherfucker. You never say a fucking word, Balderson. Is what I've noticed.
Yeah, that's
you really don't say shit. You don't know literally. Whenever you talk, you don't say shit. Know who's a better motherfucker? Duck. And look how he chills, dude.
So wait, because Duck isn't talking,
it'd be a lot better.
Good,
well, it's just like every time I come here,
yelled at him for not talking. Yeah. So Duck is
why
doing
are you?
the thing
What are you? Did he bake you cookies, bro?
No, I'm just trying.
Is that what it is? Did he? What is this gas mask picture? What is that?
Why are you so mad?
I'm mad because I don't like Balderson, and he's a waste of space. And I do like the art. I actually do like it.
I got this at a festival that I throw.
I thought you did.
In art gallery. And it's the artist is named Ashley Martin. So if anybody wants to check out her work, please do. Please do. She's cool.
Yeah, I do like it. I do actually really like it. Is that a ukulele?
It is a mandolin.
Yeah.
8 strings, not 4.
Close. I don't know. It's just when I see Balderson, guys, I do apologize. I don't know anything of what we're talking about. I respect Duck. He gets a lot of shit, and I hate Balderson. I really just Balderson just rubs me the wrong way, Steve. You know what I'm saying?
I've noticed that
I had a jockstrap like that once.
I've noticed that Ben has that effect on many people. Many people get
but I do it
the
differently. Way. It's a lot different thing. It's not because he's like clever. It's that he ain't shit.
That you would have to demonstrate an argument for that.
I can't.
Did you know? That. Did you guys know that Ben's a clone?
Clone Ben?
Who looks?
There's 3-4 other Baldersons that just come up, take his place sometimes.
He's like Joe Biden.
No, because when the real one's here, like Joe. Like President Biden is what you should say. We all know, the real Balderson, the real TK, the real President Biden, even if you won't admit it. But
You mean the
I
clone
thought
of
it was
President
because-
Biden?
Yeah, it'd be former President Biden, wouldn't it?
Right? Like
So
if
you're
you were
supposed to call
using
him
the
all the
Well,
you
that
were
depends if
using
you think he
the-
was actually
Former
the
President
not
Biden,
the-
respect
you
the
were using-
office.
Yeah, the sycophantic honorific, sure.
That's
yeah.
a really weird hero arc. That's the strangest hero arc I've ever heard. If you guys are virtue signaling that you
I'm
call
not
a
virtue
former President Biden.
You did that, dude.
It is bullshit, dude. I'm telling you, it's
I
crazy.
hear you, but you're the one that brought that up first.
It's-
You were the one that goes like, "Oh, we should say it like this."
Yeah.
Correct. Don't do that. Okay, now you're submitting that. Balderson, I just got to say, I really can't stand you on camp. You make me sick. Have a great rest of your stream, guys. Steve, you're way better than him. You shouldn't let him with this stupid side angle. And be, it's just he fucking sucks, dude. This guy honestly is.
My world is crushed.
TK,
my world is definitely crushed.
I love that. I
You
love
know,
that.
that's to give you, Duck. I had poison oak the other day. I definitely didn't look like me.
Where were you walking through?
Outside?
My land.
Hold on.
My land.
Just guessing.
No, I didn't. No, I did.
His
I
property
I thought
is
you were going to
lousy
actually knock that one
with
up. I thought you were going to knock that
I
out.
don't.
Gibbs
Did we
got it. I was
Are we all
fucking-
friends again? Are we friends?
I'm
again?
never
That's all I
friends
care
with
about.
Balderson.
Oh no, this guy's dumber than shit. It's
No.
hilarious. I busted him so bad.
You busted me? You think you busted me, you fucking pussy? You didn't bust shit, dude. What you did is you act like a fucking clucker, dude. You're a clucker ass little bitch. I can't
goes
even
off every time he comes on. It's fucking hilarious. It's hilarious.
Oh, he dipped? Oh, you guys should have one-on-one that thing, man. Oh, that's
No,
lame.
the last time we 1-on-1, it was so bad that the dude's still fucking hurting from it. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's a shame, man. That's a shame. He was a live one. You should have stuck around, TK. You should have.
TK, I specifically removed myself from the screen so you could have your man-to-man conversation, and you just plummeted it. Like, that was the worst thing I'd ever heard in my life. I was expecting some real beef there. Anyways, shout out to Big Sarge sending in some more love. Welcome, Big Sarge. And TK is one of those who has to yell to be heard. Yes, we're all aware of TK and how he operates, but that's okay. He's fun. Ayatin sending the Big 10 said, little birds in a nest get along. 3 little birds. Oh, goodness. All right. All right. Gibbs, Carius, let's go. You got something. I know you do.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so I have a hot take. Corruption is good in the government. And the idea that I'm person number 150, like 857, is crazy because I'm person number like 900,000. If we're really getting down to it, but like, yeah, I think corruption is a good thing. In fact, I would argue that anytime they do a border barrel project, it's corruption, right? Like, I mean, anytime you're looking out for your local area over the expense of the nation, that is corruption on some level, and I think being self-interested is a good thing. And I wish more people were openly self-interested, because then we can get shit done. You don't like your border. You like your border secure. Cool. I do too. Oh, I don't like how they're treating immigrants. Maybe we wouldn't got there. If you just talk about XYZ issue, we could find some kind of solution like we used to do. Used to they'd duel and beat each other's ass and then come up with a compromise. Now everybody's so fucking like team sports, like you said, that like I'll go in a Discord with people that are not political, and they'll say wild things like all conservatives are, anti-feminist. And my ex-wife, for example, this week, someone shared a TikTok, I guess, of me, and she hates my guts. I don't really like her all that much either. And she goes, saying funny things about Gibbs, but he is not a misogynist. He likes women too much, right? So like, it's kind of like, if you can't have a conversation too much, if you can't have a conversation, we can't get down to stuff. And I think corruption is good because people are openly corrupt, can get down to the nuts and bolts of stuff. And I feel like the problem is everybody sits here and dresses themselves up with their team colors. And it is a little bit WWE-esque, Roman Coliseum-esque. And we can't actually have fucking conversations because no one wants to admit their own corruption.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think if we removed a lot of these decisions from the upper levels and brought things back down to a local level, we would actually be able to find more common ground? And in order, like you said, like, I don't like border control, you don't like border control, or I don't like open borders. You don't like open borders. We don't like people coming into our town and immigrating in and using this like little area down the street to break into, yada yada yada. Let's do something about it. Okay, let's do something about it. And you're handling it at a local level, even like
no, I don't think so, Sarah. I don't mean to cut you off, but no, and I can tell you an example why. For example, right off the top of my head, is nobody gave a shit about the border until Greg Abbott sent fucking people to Martha's Vineyard in Chicago, and all of a sudden people cared a lot, right? And so nobody votes except for voting local, right? And like there's some of us that are activists and we're online and we go and vote. And like I go and vote because I want, certain things done that affect me locally, like oil prices or beef prices, etc. But I'm openly corrupt. Like right now, I've never been more excited in my life for this Iran war. Have y'all seen fucking military industrial complex stocks? Highly recommend y'all should have bought last year, but like you didn't, right? So like I'm loving it, right? And people like, oh, you're pro Israel, you're pro this. I'm like, no, I'm pro fucking having my bills paid. And I don't think that's not revolutionary, the goddamn concept. But, people will tell you that the lizard people are in charge and that somebody else is in charge. And I'm talking about voting here locally, and everything gets done locally. Like my family controls several small towns in Texas now, and they put policy forth that helps people locally, right? As opposed to, I don't know, somebody that runs for office and then they get bought by the national party, which I think is a bigger issue than corruption or the team sports.
So at a higher level, it's more corrupted, but at a more local level.
I think it's corrupt at every level. I just think that at the local level, people are open about it.
Well, it's harder for most of history. It was easier to be more open about it because it was harder to hide, right? And federal corruption, much easier. Well, pre-internet, okay, certainly pre-television. Federal corruption was way easier to hide because there were less eyes on it. At a local level, you can be a little bit more upfront about what you're up to because all of the eyes were on it. You notice every day you drive around your town what's happening. If you don't, you're an idiot. But, so you can't help but see where the corruption is. It incentivizes the people who are corrupt to go, well, yeah, but don't you like your job? Well, yeah. But, as long as I got a little bit of something on you, I can continue to be corrupt and you'll be under my thumb. So you can't do shit about it. Mm-hmm. That's, that's why the government is a criminal organization, because those are mafia tactics. The government doesn't exist without theft, without extortion, without violence, or without threats of violence.
At least at the local levels, I think I see what Gibbs is saying. The local
I understand.
levels,
I agree that manageable corruption is far superior.
Right, but at the local level, everybody knows.
Little kids,
everybody knows the Gibbs family is running shit here, and everybody's at least they know and understand that when Admiral Gibbs comes in the door. When Admiral Gibbs comes in the door of your store and says, pay up for your, for me to keep you protected or something, like they know, at least they know. Whereas what we're seeing,
No, it's more like we're running the Farm Bureau or something, and we're like, hey, you want fucking, you like having good beef prices or herd sizes. Maybe you should fucking jump on side with us and not with the meat packers or something, right? Like, I feel like when we start talking about this, it is at the national level, right now. Okay, we went to war with Iran. The Shahad fucking kamikaze drones or whatever. Now we have an American version being produced in Arizona. We just stole Ukrainians' USO boats, and now we're going to start producing them here in fucking Brownsville, Texas. We're going to produce our own versions. Like, these are good things locally. Like, we're building shipbuilding, we're building drones. Americans are getting jobs. Like, and guess what? Those people that are doing this, they're doing it at the expense of somebody like Duck, who's like, oh, the war is bad. Well, it's not bad for people getting paid.
I didn't say shit about war being bad.
Well,
I will. Well, I don't know what the fuck you heard, but you need to knock the marbles back in.
I was just basing it off me saying that, and you
for what fucking reason?
Doc, do you even have marbles?
No, because I'm a grown ass fucking adult. But
no, I meant
say frozen every time you're on. What the fuck?
You just said adult male.
Adult male, only in age. What else did I have on here? Oh shit, where did my notes go? There it is. You
Yeah,
mentioned APAC, and you said you can go to the website and see who's being rented, basically.
APACtracker.com is the website. Pretty sure. Yeah, it's interesting to see who your Congress critters actually work for.
Now, who keeps track of the APAC tracker? Who's updating that, and how do they know this information is true?
Well, campaigns have to publicly disclose their finances, and OpenSecrets.com I think is one of the websites. .com because I wasn't sure if it was .com or .org, but it's one of those outlets that tracks that kind of stuff, that will go through all of the financial disclosures from each Congress critter and be like, oh, well, it's clear that you do have a boss, and your boss is definitely not the American people.
Is it unbiased though? Because like on ESPN, and sorry, this is sort of tangential, but like ESPN will talk about, oh, LeBron James was the best basketball player ever. He led the Cavs and the Lakers to championships, so that's why he's the best player of all time. But like what do you actually get other than voting records and on stuff like pro 2A, anti 2A, that kind of thing? Like
what, from Open Secrets?
Yeah, or whatever.
You get financials. That's what I'm saying.
Financing them.
Yeah.
But why does that matter? Like,
why
I don't
does it matter
like,
who owns
everybody,
them? Because
no,
the
you say
marketing-
own. You say owned, right?
Rent.
Okay.
Sorry, rent.
Sure, rent. That's fine. I guess I'm struggling with like why that's a bad thing, right? Like because
you're an amoral son of a bitch. That's why.
That's true. I'm not going to argue that. That is true.
That's case closed. We've solved
but
it.
like,
We
why?
figured it
But
out.
even
We
if
can
you're
move on.
not, let's say you're like a Southern Baptist, right? And I'm like, I want to back the candidate that I like the most, right? Why? And I don't know. Maybe I'm a weird Southern Baptist. Actually, I got a perfect person in mind. He's a Methodist, and he owns a bunch of strip clubs. So I don't know how this works out, but he's rich. He's like an elder at his church. Don't know how that works either, but don't ask me. Anyway, but he backs a lot of candidates locally and at the state level. Why wouldn't you, if you're making a bunch of money, want to spend money on a candidate and on ads to get them there? That just seems like it's bad. And you're just complaining because you're poor.
If you have no moral compass, if the only thing that you're concerned about is securing your bag, it makes perfect sense. Of course you would want to rent a politician. Of course you would. You'd probably want to rent some judges. You'd probably want to rent a sheriff or two. You would definitely want to rent favorable treatment from any public official. It makes if the only thing you care about is you getting yours, it makes all of the sense in the world.
And the thing is then at that point, you as the American voter, it also makes sense that you should know who paid those politicians. So that way, when the fucking politician comes out and tells you he's passing laws because this Methodist priest that also is the fucking biggest strip club owner in the area wants some laws passed, you're like, is there something shady about this? This is the way this is supposed to work. And I do agree with you that the corruption was inherent in the system, but the founding fathers also understood that the system was occasionally going to have to be refreshed because eventually that corruption would turn into tyranny, and we needed to get rid of the tyrants. We've been too bitch ass to do it.
Yeah, but hold on. The founding fathers put forth in their system, like, and this is going to be not a popular take, they put forth, they wanted basically an oligarchy running it. They didn't want the common man. That's part of the reason they have the Electoral College. They're clearly okay with some level of corruption, right? They didn't care that the corn people, you brought up the corn rebellion, right? They didn't care that the corn farmers were getting fucked. They cared that the government was not getting their tax dollars, right?
Right.
And so when you're saying this,
I
don't see it
in a corn rebellion
because it was whiskey from the corn, the rye. Anyway, long story
short.
It
was specifically whiskey, not corn.
Okay. Either way, not important to what I'm making the debate. But yes, you're right. But like the point that I'm
definitely important because they were a religious people. So if you were producing whiskey with your food, that you're paying like sin tax, which is entirely different than growing your food.
Okay, well that's interesting, but Okay, still not where I'm really going with this, but we can come back to that if you want. The point that I'm making is like, if anybody can do this, right? Like you can do it. You can do it. Like you can get together 10 people and y'all can all like put together a certain amount each month to do it. It's not like it's like y'all are excluded because AIPAC is buying, I don't know, Ted Cruz, right? Like you could rent Ted Cruz, and if you have enough money and enough people that'll vote, like I would assume here in Texas, I could probably go round up more people than fucking AIPAC could to go influence the election. Like that, like towards either like Paxton or Corden or maybe Cruz, right? Cruz is the biggest guy for Israel ever, according to him, right? So like, if I go in there and I fucking fund, Cruz's campaign to some degree, and I walk in there with, I don't know, 100K votes, suddenly he's gonna care about what I think, even if that's opposite of what AIPAC's doing. Like, so like,
can we test this? Will you do that? Can we test this theory?
Oh, don't worry.
I think that this is an experiment that bears going outside of the theoretical. If you're in a position to do that, go up against any one of Israel's favorite candidates with someone who is anti-Israel.
The problem
Well,
is,
what if you did what they did though? What if you did what they did though? Nice little sneak attack in, be the frenemy, and then boof, expose and destroy.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, if you wanted to go up against the candidates, right, that are sponsored by Israel, I wouldn't go up against them directly. I'd placate and be on the team, find everything, poof, exposed. Then I'd go up against them. I'd be the next runner-up.
Well, I wouldn't do that because they fucking help our military industrial complex. And that makes me a lot of fucking money. So no, I won't do that. But if they want to send me a check, I'm not going to say no to that either. But I'm not going to sit here and be like on their side. Like, you can't, like, this is kind of the thing. And this is kind of what the founding fathers wanted, is they wanted people with money to run so that they were insulated from like the idea of like being bought. Like, that's a big thing, right? Like, they wanted people like an oligarchy to kind of be in charge. That's why they have the Senate versus the House. Like, they kind of wanted this House of Lords recreated. They want like people that are insulated like from this, so being bought by like interest groups. They want these people that have the money and they have the ability to invest locally to sit here and go and make policy. So if AIPAC comes to say like me, it's going to be a lot harder to buy or rent me like than it would be to say, rent Hunt, who doesn't have the ties or the money. He might now. I don't know how much money he made in his last campaign, but like versus Hunt, like, to say like, it's going to be like, it's going to be different. Like, it's easier to buy a House of Representatives person than it would be like a senator per se, right? Like, not that they can't be bought, but that's kind of the concept here. And that's even the reason why we have high payment for senators and House of Representative people, is so that they're insulated against this being bought. Now that doesn't work.
But we know like, that doesn't work.
Theory. That's the theory, but I agree, it's not working.
When those seats were originally, when those seats were
that's just because it's the theory doesn't mean it's working.
I mean, but in the beginning, the intentions were these were still men who worked at home. They still had jobs in farms and other things, and they did this as a volunteer position. Wasn't it originally like that?
Class. Yeah, but now we have a political class, so like everything evolves over time. Like, I mean, you couldn't run the United States as it is today with the same system that we had in 1780 whatever.
Why not?
When we said that they got because because there's too many people, the tech, the span, the land. I mean, yeah, it's not.
Well, was the federal government supposed to be the monstrosity it is?
My question is, how many would still do that job for free?
None of them. I mean, well, there would be an exception unless you can get rich off insider trading. If I would do it for free, if I'm allowed to insider trade, then I'm okay with that. I mean,
they give themselves raises every year or so, and they're allowed to insider trade.
Yeah, it shouldn't be both. I will agree with that.
That's not what Bo said. I remember the Bo commercials, and it's both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
both.
Bo likes both. Yep.
I mean, also highly recommend the Autopilot app. If you don't like your Congress people making more money than you can get the Autopilot app, and then you can be rich off their insider trades too. And I'm not paid by Autopilot, so that's
what is the Autopilot app?
It tracks. It was originally designed to track Pelosi's fucking trades, and then they expanded it. I think it's like up to like 130 Congress people now. And basically, every time you put a certain amount of money in there, say you put $1,000, it'll spend a percentage of your money on the trades that they make, proportionate to the amount of money you've given the AI to spend.
Mm.
It started because Pelosi's numbers are like savant level compared to any other investor in the world.
Savant, like 1800%, like some crazy shit last time I looked.
Yeah.
Wow.
Talented.
Yeah.
All that skill, and yet still manages to find time doing the hard work of governing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Big fan.
And all that while on fucking 10 gallons of vodka a day.
Right.
Okay, that might actually
Well,
be the most impressive part.
If your husband was spending all of his time getting hammered, you'd probably want to get a little hammered too.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
You're welcome. You can
Feel
free to use
I'm gonna steal that one. I am. Don't worry.
Definitely stealing that one.
Yeah.
Autopilot investment app.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. I think they just open it up for anybody now. They can use it, and all you have to do this is part I don't tell you what to do.
Invest like a politician. Tracker.
You can attach it to your Robinhood, but don't use Robinhood because they'll fuck you. But I attached my Merrill Lynch portfolio to one of my Merrill Lynch portfolios to it. It's not pretty.
Is it Robinhood, that one that got busted during? Didn't they get busted in a big crypto scam thing?
No, they got busted because they fucking.
It was the GameStop thing.
Yeah, the GameStop thing, and then what was the other one after the movie theater? AMC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they shut down trades.
Now I remember. Yeah. I would also take contention with your calling the founding oligarchs. And so today that's a real popular thing to teach in college and an excellent leftist talking point. But the fact is they wanted landowners to be the voters, people that actually own the area that they're living in and have proved the responsibility to take care of things bigger than themselves. And so you didn't have to be rich to do that. You just had to have gumption and know how to run a fucking farm. Because guess what? Nobody owned the land. You said, that land over there, that's mine. And you went and worked it. That didn't require rich men. That required men of foresight. And then those men of foresight would also be the best men to vote on what's going to happen for the area. The same as I wouldn't let somebody live in an apartment vote. They're transient. They're going to, of course, vote for the thing that's best for them, not the thing best for the future of the area, because they don't give a fuck. They're about to move somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah, I think the guiding philosophy was if you're capable of stewarding the land, then you're going to be more capable of being a steward to the community.
Exactly right. It's called husbandry, and you've proven it when you're a landowner.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of that policy personally for no particular reason. But
well, I would imagine so, since you're also a rancher. Like
I like that. But like, I mean, even then, you say that, okay, but like, and I like the argument. I've made this argument before on panels. I don't think I've done it here, where like when we argue with the Mideast, I'm like, we can give you 55-gallon, barrel of wheat, and you give us a 55-gallon barrel of oil, and then if you don't like that deal, we can see who starves first. But like, then at the same time, like that's well and good, but like I own a ranch, I still need tech people, and they don't own land to like fix my maybe not tech people is not the right word. Mechanics, they don't necessarily own land, right? To fix my shit. They provide a service. Maybe they own their business, but they're not renting the land. Maybe they're renting land from, one of my neighbors or something. I feel like when you say landowners, even then, the people that owned the land in the cities at the time were rich as fuck. That's oligarchs. Even like most farmers and ranchers, they weren't super rich because if farmers and ranchers, all their money goes back into the product, right? Like that's why I own other shit, because there's fucking zero money in ranching, kind of thing, right? So it's kind of like at the same time, it's almost like you're going in for office if you're a rancher. I'm providing a service.
There was like a 2-month period last year where most of us made a gab of money. Like when the cattle prices in the last year, where cattle prices just spiked, and we actually made it.
They're paying $2,300 at auction for 3-day-old calves.
Holy fuck!
I mean,
sky. Well,
it's insane.
Stagnated now.
Well, okay, well that's complicated. If you like that topic, we can go watch my interview one-on-one with another rancher, and he talks a lot about calf raising operations. But yeah, it's a little more complicated than that. But yeah, I agree. There was a time. But if you got working the calf industry, like the calf part of it, you could.
I'm also a cattle rancher.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, like I said, I don't know if we're doing the exact same kind of operation. But like, even then,
We're
even then,
not.
like-
I do. I've got belted Galloways and Dexters, and then all my females are milk cows.
Well, so even at this like time period where we were making big money, right? Like I've reinvested all my money fucking the ranching back into the cows, right? Like there's like, you know, I'm trying to expand the herds as fast as I can before fucking we really had an impact from the Argentina beef, you know, and it's kind of like I'm not making no money on that, right? Like, but like people will come and be on these panels, not y'all, because y'all are very nice, lovely people, would never say anything mean to me. But I'll go on these panels and these people will be like, "Fuck you, rich landowner," and I'm like, but like at the same time, if I have land like this, that is an oligarch, right? Like, what do you mean? If you're an oligarch in some respects, like not the average person doesn't own land at all, like. You know, like that's an oligarch. Like
the other person doesn't have the responsibility in order to do it. So guess what? You're proving my point, Gibbs. Even when you're saying that you took and reinvested your money, rather than being a dumb fuck and going out and going, I got a gab of money, cocaine and strippers. You know, instead.
Well, hold up, because Gibbs probably did the cocaine and strippers too.
First of all, you never have sex with the stripper.
Put a small portion of it into cocaine and strippers. You know, every now and then you got to boof some cocaine with a stripper. You know that. You know, it just
you don't boof it. Let them boof it.
That's what I meant. She's getting boofed. Like, don't get pink eye off that, boys. Remember that. But he reinvested the bulk of that money for future growth and future needs. That's called husbandry accountability. This is the guys we want voting, not dumb fucker who spent it all at the dollar store and spent the bulk of it on cocaine and ugly hookers.
But the kazoos were $7 for $1, Ben.
It's also $250 for 100 of them from Oriental Trading Company, by the way. Don't ask me why I know that, but I do know that. So there's no excuse. You got paid like $40 to do that too. But yeah, I mean, even what you're saying, like you're advocating for corruption on some level, right there, Wallace, and like because you're arguing for a small group of people to hold all the power. Like the only difference is, I guess, you're trading the APAC. You're trading the APAC for fucking the Texans. Like, I mean, I'm okay with that. Like, are y'all okay with that?
It's a little bit more complicated than that, but
I mean, how is that corrupt? Corruption would be people are supposed to do one thing and then they're paid by some other alternative group to do another thing. What I'm advocating for is people that live in an area and have shown husbandry responsibilities, and those people to be the leaders of that area and make the decisions of that area for the benefit of all. Because when the area flourishes, everybody gets to have a good time.
Right. If you're taking care of your family, how much more does that expand outward? Because if you're being accountable for you and yours, then other people don't have to come in and be accountable on your behalf, right? So if you're taking care of you and then you set the example and you're also leading with your vote or your politics, right? And then that sets the example for those around you who maybe are getting ready to start a family or will your grandchildren, you know, you're setting the pace for them so that you can ensure they have the same flourishment as you have, but even more so. Like you're pushing to do better always, and that speaks a lot to it. And I'll even add in the thought that our children, right? We should always want our children to do better than us. If you don't have that thought in your head, you're not planning for them. But with that caveat, you are accountable for setting the pace and setting the standard and setting up the opportunities in order for them to do better than you. If you just let them wither and do whatever they want and figure it out on their own, their chances significantly decrease. So that appeals to the voting piece that you're talking about, Balderson, and kind of the politics that surround it. Like, we have to give them the tools, the resources, the opportunities, and set the pace, give them the bumpers, and set the guidelines going in so that they can do even better than us.
Well, and if you wanted to do that, you would select away from sociopathy. You wouldn't keep selecting for sociopathy in your political process, because we have a rigged one. You only get the illusion of choice between one of two sociopaths.
Yeah, but when you say that, like, where do you think these people are coming from? Like, let's just say I'm going to take my uncle, right, or my aunt. Actually, is a better example. She's ran for office locally, right? Now she's probably. I don't think she actually has any ambition to go higher. But like, let's just say she wanted to run for like Texas House, not like the federal, but let's just say she wanted to run for. She absolutely could get elected in her district, easy. And then maybe 10 years from now she wants to run for like actual national house. Like, how when you're saying these pre-selected, what you really mean is they're pre-selected by virtue of they're the ones that care and they're the ones that have been running. Like,
no, that is not what I mean. What I mean, for
who do you think's
example,
running then?
is let's take Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for example. Sandy from the Bronx, right? Sandy Cortez grew up in Westchester, a very rich dad. Sandy Cortez went to, Columbia University, where very early on, she was selected to join the International Relations Program. The International Relations Program at Columbia University, the school that she went to where she obtained her degree from, was specifically created by a CIA agent as a way for the American intelligence network to tap in at the university level where they could see people and go, oh, okay, well, this person will be good for political office. This person will be good for business. This person will be good for this particular role. And they are groomed specifically for that office. There are people like your aunt, let's say, who do come into it from an outsider perspective. I told an anecdote earlier about, former student of my dad's, David McIntosh. Same kind of thing. There are people that do come into it. Cynthia McKinney, who is one of my favorite politicians ever. She came into it the exact same way. She got chewed up and spit out by the system for asking questions about September 11th. They didn't like that.
Ran out of the country.
She is
ran
now
out of the country.
Unemployable in the West. She has a PhD. But unemployable in the West. She had to go to East West University in like Bangladesh in order to teach after Congress. And she was, headed for congressional stardom. Now, Maxine Waters got it because she stopped asking questions about drugs and started supporting war efforts. It started supporting, a bunch more empire expansion in line with the Zionist entity getting involved in money laundering operations for 20 to 25 years at the expense of people who volunteer to serve for their country. But again, if you're an absolute piece of shit, all you're seeing are the dollar signs and you're like, hey, this is great. Let's keep this going. If you're not, then chances are you're like, hey, maybe we shouldn't run the country based off of child sexual blackmail and also stealing from each and every citizen through the theft that is egregious taxation.
Are you taking
speaking of taxation, we're going to take a brief little pause here to tell the people what they need to do. It's been 2 hours. You have 15 minutes left on that dono goal, and you still are 6 shy. And I'm already pissed off that it's been 2 hours and you haven't even gotten halfway there. Ben, inform the people how angry this tomato becomes, and maybe give them the warning that they need.
You see that the name is Raging Tomato. At some point in time, a ritual occurs. Many tomatoes or smaller tomatoes are sacrificed. And then out from the underworld comes the Kraken tomato, and we all pay.
Yes, you all pay with more than just money. You pay with entire boredom, because I shut this shit down. Steve, let these fuckers know what they need to do.
It's not that I'm mad, I'm just disappointed. And frankly,
spit my water out.
I expected better of you, Sarah. You worked so hard to put these together and bring together people of varying ideologies, so that there is some inherent tension leading to hilarious moments of chaos and merriment, and you're fucking it up. I just, again, not mad, just really, really disappointed.
Yes. And the price goes higher if that ticker ticks down to 0. And then I charge a full amount. Ant, tell them what they need to do, sir. Ant, did we lose your mic again? Maybe he has no words because he's so sad. We'll play sad violin music because Ant is crying right now. He's so ashamed of this chat that he has no words for it. He has
You're right.
nothing. There you are, Ant.
Why is everybody crying? Oh, right, because chat doesn't want to fucking pay up.
The chat's gonna be crying here in about 15 minutes or less than that. Gibbs, I know you can own this.
Yeah, listen, I'm wearing Versace. I got VVS diamonds in my shit. We got a rollie on. Here's what you need to do, fucks. I'm not going to spend my money because I keep my money to myself and spend it on crazy shit like what he said, cocaine and hookers, I guess. I don't know. But what you guys should do is spend the money on Sarah right now so we can get her dressed up in Rolexes and VVS diamonds and shit. Otherwise, you'll fuck yourselves. So spend money, do it meow. Even if that gets me kicked, do it meow. Right meow.
Yeah, you could actually just boot everyone off the screen and hit the dono goal all at once. Clay, welcome, my friend. You just got here, but you might have to go somewhere else if they don't do what they're supposed to do.
Well, let me tell you, I just got here, and I planned on having some fun tonight. I wanted to get yelled at by Sarah, but not like this, right? I mean, I enjoy it as much as everybody. I love a good raging red tomato, but here's the problem. Not in that fashion. I don't want to get yelled at that way, right? So you know what it takes. You like to see me get yelled at, especially by tomato. This is how it works. Pay up.
Pay up. Pay up. Pay up. Pay up. I almost feel like I should withhold content. Because we still, normally they send at least 1 or 2 donos in that moment of me starting to tell them what they need to do, but they still haven't done it yet. And I can't help but to ponder if I should even allow you guys to continue giving them content right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm holding the spicy shit in until at least past the first round, guys. Y'all got to spend some moolah right this fucking second.
And Gibbs, are we expecting another friend to be joining us?
I don't know. I sent it to him. Let me send it to somebody else. I think we might have somebody good.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, what a sad. I mean, you guys aren't even sending in the donos to tell my panelists how stupid they are. I mean, that's at least worth its weight in gold.
I know TK came up on the panel just to cuss about me and then fucking left.
You know, my chat has been saying, I guess it's a shared chat, has been saying that you look like Triple H, but skinnier. I was going to say you kind of look like Ciampa to me personally, but they both kind of look similar. Those are good.
I usually get Floki from Vikings is the one I get a lot.
I fucking love that show. That's a good
Oh,
one.
is the Twitch stuff you, Gibbs?
I think we have a shared chat or something. Ken Possible, you don't know, and then I'll think about standing up. We don't do tricks for nothing. Okay. I'm all about playing the monkey game here, but you need to pay first. But yeah, I mean, actually, I still have a couple bananas upstairs that I could start eating. But I'm not really that hungry when there's no money coming in the door. So, I mean, I'm happy to do the banana eating thing. That's easy. But, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't. 4 donos have come in. That's heartbreaking.
Ken, I feel like those might have been black jokes, just for the record. All of them, every single one.
I know at some point we were going to dig into why Admiral Gibbs changes the Whiskey Rebellion to the Corn Rebellion to try and make it deceptive.
Well, that's because I'm a deceptive individual, but that's neither here nor there.
That sounds corny.
Corny.
That was good.
Well played. Well played.
Oh man, it would be a shame. It would be an absolute shame if I just shut that. But I mean, I have other things I can be doing right now. You know, like sleep or
because you sleep.
I have show prep. I have to take the dog out.
Yeah. Actually, I do have a show I want to plan for Saturday night. I mean, I could get out of here and go do that and start reaching out to people and get that done. But
I had some things I wanted to fight with Steve about this topic too.
Yeah, I do got to jump in about 10 minutes. So
Clay, get him out.
Yeah, go ahead, Clay. Go ahead. I'll allow it.
Okay, a little bit. So you mentioned something about how people line up to put their say into who's going to be that person to get into that place of that office, I guess. Voting?
Yeah.
How do you feel about voting?
At the federal level, certainly, and in many cases at the state level, it is at most the laziest and least effective political action anyone can directly take. At worse than that, it is, again, federal level, and certainly in most cases at the state level, nothing more than a consent ritual for bloodline PDF files.
Okay. But as far as the local level, you're just fine with that then?
I think that if you're going to engage in that experiment, that you have a higher probability at the local level, but you do have to engage directly in the type of corruption that Gibbs was advocating earlier.
Which is?
Well, technically illegal, but also the way that the illegitimate entity that is the state operates, because it's a mafia, and that's what mafias do.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Wait, are you saying any? I'm sorry, Clay. I'm gonna turn right back to you. Are you saying, just for clarification, are you saying like any government's a mafia?
Can you show me one that isn't?
I guess I'm just asking for like clarification of what you're defining.
I mean, can you show me one that isn't? I've studied multiple governments in multiple countries for a very long time. I've yet to discover evidence that would suggest that they're not an international criminal organization. In many cases, where as we were talking about earlier, the perceived enemies are actually very good friends once the conference attendance list gets a little bit smaller.
All right, Clay. Sorry, I just wanted clarification. Go ahead, Clay.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's good. So are you for voting or not?
Again, I don't care if you do it. I'm not going to. If I had my way, we would not be continuing to, pretend to elect pre-selected PDF files who hate us and want us to die every 2 to 4 years. I would advocate against that. Yeah.
Okay. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but you mentioned that I believe some other time that you're anarcho-capitalist.
I'm much more of what you would call like an agorist. I don't think that the state is a legitimate institution. Again, okay. I don't think that there should be no rules. Rules are important. It's this system of rulers that we're subjected to is inherently illegitimate.
Okay. That gives me a little bit better starting ground. So, legitimacy denotes legality. You would agree with that?
I make it make sense.
So legitimacy is a reference to what's on paper. So like a lineage or a.
Oh no, I'm
perhaps
sorry.
law.
Let me clarify this. In accordance with natural law, I
Okay.
would
So legitimacy
is much
in
more
accordance-
legit.
Okay. So with
To the
natural law.
person backstage, you just got to do a quick cam up for me. I have no idea who you are. Oh, I see you. Do you want to stay on cam or you want to go back to avatar? There you go. Okay. Welcome. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Okay.
Hi.
So for legitimacy purposes, when it comes to natural law, how would we determine what is legitimate?
Well, are you violating the rights or the property of anyone else while you're doing the thing that you're doing? Are you using force in order to attain that? It's something that you can't mutually and voluntarily agree to. It's something that, if you don't have a deal, you don't have a deal, and you can walk away from the deal. But using force in order to secure a deal, it would be a violation of natural law in that aspect.
I don't entirely agree with that.
Okay.
But for this purpose, legitimacy being the issue at stake here. So whoever is in possession, they say 9/10 of the law is possession, right? So when it comes to that, naturally, I would say the world is a violent place. It's not peaceful, and so what humans do is we set up basic structures of rule. At the very least, for me the most basic structure would be family, and then above that would be like some style of community. And then once you get past that, I do believe it becomes convoluted because you get to the state or the national level, and then extreme cases, if anybody wants to try world government, that it's a little bit unattainable. But when we do discuss rules of legitimacy, naturally the father is the head of the home in most people's mind, and then mother, and then down the line from that, the children, so on and so forth. And so you've got grandparents above them, above all of that, but they don't advocate the authority of the parents just because they're grandparents. So there is a structure, but the thing is we have to live in the world with other families. So we create the social doctrines, and that's the social doctrine theory and that thing, right? And so how do you feel about social doctrine?
Well, I think that the ideation that we see and that we've seen for at least the last 120, 150 years has been one of a soul crushing, freedom eroding Marxist nightmare.
Yeah, I like that. That's a very good point. Good way to
Allow me to interrupt for one moment. You have 50 seconds to hit that dono goal before the cost gets higher. 50 seconds, 45 seconds. I'm about to be a fucking angry bitch. And
Admiral's loaded. He should donate.
And I've just received word that
I won't,
somebody
I won't.
absolutely amazing is going to be joining the panel here in about half an hour, but we might not make it. And it's a first time for this person to be joining this panel. And if they decide to stop by, I don't want to be embarrassed by the fact that my chat doesn't even want to support the platform in which they want to join. Yeah, y'all so rude. 11 seconds.
Also, I won't donate. You can go ahead and get that out of the way, guys.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I'm
All right.
also streaming. I'm trying to make my own money. Who said that? I'm not a cat. You said that.
All right.
Yeah, that's me.
Here goes your 15-minute timer. You have 15 minutes to unfuck this with one.
I think Steve should donate because it's self-promotion.
No,
I
he's
will when
the
Gibbs
teacher.
does.
One super chat, 15 minutes. Hit it or quit.
Panel, you don't donate.
Yeah. The panel, sometimes panelists do, but
I've
I'm
donated
not.
before.
I'm just excited. I'm just excited to get this new person here. But you only have 15 minutes.
The people.
To unfuck yourselves.
I can't tell you guys what to do. I can only suggest, and I do suggest that you put that money down. Somebody's got to do it. And
Somebody's got to do it. So somebody has to do it now. I'm excited to see this person, but I also I'm not going to sit and wait for the chat to unfuck themselves. You made me do this. You made me do this to you. Oh goodness. Anyways, I'll let I think Clay, you were going. You're welcome to take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I do understand your viewpoint, obviously, and you're welcome to have it. The thing about I guess it's kind of a doom and gloom view in my opinion, is that so you do report on it, and that I love. You do report on the corruption and the disgusting things that are happening. That you are participating in your civic duty, as far as I'm concerned. But I don't believe that people should
You been watching, Clay?
I do know Steve's view, and I do listen to him when I ask the questions.
It's a fun show. You guys should all watch it. It's a fun show. We have fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, but I actually did catch like I was tapping through, trying to get through it all, and I tried.
It's also 3 hours. Yeah, it's a commitment.
Yeah. I wanted to get in and watch it earlier, but I was involved in some other stuff, trying to reveal some corruption in my own town. That's kind of what I do. I report on corruption as well. So that's one of the things that I really appreciate that you do and others do when they do it. And yes, there are some people in these positions of power that are absolutely disgusting and really don't give a damn about the people. And when they get their little bit of power, they try to increase it and do it in a corrupt fashion and all that. But the doom and gloom part, I'm not really a fan of.
Where's the doom and gloom?
Well, the idea that the participation in like things like voting or like. So running for office, right?
Yeah, but there's nothing doom and gloom about asking people to stop kicking themselves in the dick. That seems to be like reasonably positive advice.
Right. Well,
I don't know, man. I have like nothing but hope for the future. I have a very rosy outlook on things. I am not doom and gloom about any of this stuff. I'm actually very excited that we are currently heading upwards in the Yuga arc in the dumbest of all possible timelines.
I like that. That's a different way to look at it. But
it's not the best, it's not the worst, it's definitely the dumbest.
Right, you're just looking at it from reality. Yeah, I get that. So then I really don't have a whole lot of issue, because you actually touched on a couple of points where it's like when you hit the federal level, it's almost impossible to control what those people do. When you hit the state level, you might get a little bit.
Are you familiar with the Princeton study that shows that no matter what people want, no matter how popular an issue is, if there isn't a surefire way for people who traffic children to make money off of it, it does not become law?
No, I mean,
what you should read the Princeton study on voter, I guess, representation. Check that out. And
take medical cannabis for an example. It's overwhelmingly passed by the people almost every state it's ever been in. But also the bill has to get put up by the people. The politicians don't want nothing to do with it. It's always the people going around getting the votes. And in fact, South Dakota, at least 2 of those times, they threw the votes away and then had to go to court over it and got in all kinds of trouble. The government fights it, but they don't put up nothing the people want.
I think too. One of the issues is that people rely too much on their vote to mean something when they forget about the court.
I think people have been led into a position where they
That's a problem.
have to rely on the government too much.
I mean, hold on. What you just said there, Clay, is kind of a problem too, though. Like,
I got a joke though, guys. You've all been fantastic. Sarah, you rock. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you coming on. This was fun.
No worries. Everybody take care. Have a splendid weekend and all that kind of stuff. And pay this lady her money.
Exactly.
Later.
Like you guys know what to do. It takes one.
They only have 9 minutes. 9 minutes to it's 100 or bust at this point. You didn't hit the goal. You've had 2 hours. You have now less than 10 minutes. You have 9 minutes. 100 or bust. And if it's bust, then I'm just going to go ahead and shut down. I have like a gazillion and one other things I would rather be doing than sitting here not making any money. So, yeah.
Guys.
Hi,
I think Balderson got the big change.
Hmm?
I think I'm the only one that got that. That was good.
I think it's important to also realize that we are relying on legislators that don't ever just vote on a bill that is straightforward, which is the Protect Our Children bill, where the Protect Our Children bill is just a name to get you all invested in it. But secretly hidden in that is 1,500 other little riders and addendums and modifications. Nothing is ever what it seems. It's labeled something that gets you emotionally attached to it. And then underneath all that is what's really important, what they're really pushing through. And usually in that, there is also some restriction now on our freedom. Some little thing you didn't even know was in that bill. But it's somewhere restricting the freedoms of Americans. And it happens so often. Fundamentally, something has to change because our laws are not straightforward. Our laws are absolutely complicated and convoluted.
In the video game world, we call that an Easter egg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The little amendment system where they add amendments to bills is a big issue. But I kind of want to go back to what Clay was just saying. I think that the problem, you're right. We don't use people like not well enough in the way of the courts. But if we're having to use the courts to legislate, that is not how the courts are supposed to be used. Like that is a problem in and of itself. And like I would rather we had less of that, and than the opposite. But it is a check on their power. And like I do like the courts as is. That's why I don't want it expanded. I think that they're important, but we shouldn't be legislating from the bench if at all possible.
But we also
hold on. Do you think that reversing the Chevron doctrine was bad then?
I wanted to respond.
I don't know. Let me give you a second. I'll look and I'll tell you.
So no, I agree with you about legislating from the bench. No, absolutely not. No legislation from the bench. Things like Terry versus Ohio need to go away. And all the ridiculousness from that. So essentially, we've lost some.
No, I don't have a problem with it.
You don't have a problem with the stop and frisk?
No, the Chevron doctrine being overturned. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, the Chevron doctrine. Okay.
That's why I asked, because if you're saying you don't want them, you don't want the courts doing it, then you're stuck with the Chevron doctrine.
Well, not to interrupt you, Clay, but just in response to that real quick, the reason I'm okay with the Chevron doctrine being overturned is because they're doing what they're supposed to be. They're interpreting statutes and taking that power away from the executive, which shouldn't be interpreting the statutes. They should be just enforcing them as written, right, or as interpreted. So I'm okay with them doing judicial review, which is what they were designed to do based off originally Marbury Madison. So like that's okay to me.
Well, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but I don't want them like writing new law on the bench because like the law wasn't clear enough or some shit. That is a problem.
Right.
I'm sorry, Clay.
No, that's my bad. I see what you're saying.
Right. So
and as a kind reminder, you have 5 minutes to hit that Hail Mary dono goal, or else we all go home. 5 minutes.
I'm telling you, you think they'd lose it, fam. It's only one super chat. That's all it takes. Literally it.
Well, it would have only been 6 small super chats 15 minutes ago. But
right. Yep. And,
One donut goal you can be the hero. You can be the big hero of the day. Who wants to be the hero? Save
Admiral
the
Gibbs.
I'm also trying to make money, football. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, no, the legislation from the bench, things like Terry versus Ohio, knife hand to the balls. No, I'm not for that. So what I'm talking about is the people won't essentially prosecute these or force the courts to prosecute these politicians who are making very poor decisions and breaking the law. So
what about courts accepting congressional maps, right? Isn't that essentially that too?
Say what?
Gerrymandering.
Gerrymandering is just a function of the system.
It's actually gerrymandering.
It is Jerry.
No, I don't have a problem with the quote unquote gerrymandering until it becomes a problem, right? Until it becomes like an obvious, like all the rich people live here, so we're only going to have these people voting for.
Clay, that might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say.
I mean, on a national level, I don't know that it makes that much of a difference.
I don't know.
But on a state level, it wreaks havoc. Like in California, where they recently did the gerrymandering, California already, part of the reason that there's the Jeffersonia movement, where Northern California, and by Northern, I don't mean the fucking Bay, because you can drive for 5 hours north of the Bay and still be in California. I mean the area that they don't count. And already in in our house, just for the state stuff, we lose vote. We lose the country areas lose 80 to like 7 or 8 or something every time, because it's been gerrymandered where it all goes with the Democrats and they always vote for the stuff that the big cities want. And it, like a recent example is the carbon tax that they're trying to implement. Well, sure, if you live in the Bay, everything you possibly need is in 15 minutes of you. Most of those people, they have a car, they don't even use it. It's fucking horrible to drive down there, and it's horrible to park down there. It's way easier to just get one of those Waymos or one of them little electric scooters that you can rent for $1 on the fucking side, whatever. I live 2 hours from the grocery store I go to. So when they apply a carbon tax, who has to pay the carbon tax? Well, that happens to be the farmers and those of us that live out in the fucking rural areas. And of
2 minutes.
And of course, the city people are all fucking for that. They're like, hell yeah, don't affect us at all. They did the same thing with insurance. Because I have to drive for 2 hours, I put more mileage on my vehicle. My insurance is skyrocketed compared to in the city. They outvote us every time.
Speaking of outvoting, pardon me, but they have less than 2 minutes to hit a goal. If you don't hit the goal, I've already set up the raid. If you don't hit it, we're just getting the fuck out of here. We're going home. I'm sorry, but my time is worth something, and it ain't free. So as much as I love our panelists, and I was excited for our new person to make their way to this panel, because that would have been I've been trying to get that person on here for a long time, and you guys all would have been super excited as well, I think. And I think it would have ended up being a really interesting conversation. But you have 1 minute left to unfuck this situation and hit that final goal. And if you don't do it, well, I can't help you. I can't help you. This is the whole like fuck around and find out thing. You guys know how I feel about hitting goals. I am a very ambitious person, and hitting a goal is the best thing since sliced bread in my world. I'm incredibly competitive, and I have no whereabouts. Well, and we got a new person here, but it may not be long. It may not be long because they've got 30 seconds to hit that goal. 30 seconds.
I feel like I have a good guess on it, and if I do, it's huge. Like it's huge.
It is a big name. It is a really big name.
Alex Jones.
No, I think I feel like I know.
Frankly, he's already here. Turn to the Frogs Gate. I'm sorry.
You guys have 15 seconds. 11, 10, and Effigy just made his way on too. Uh-oh.
Yeah, have a good night, I suppose.
Uh-oh.
And I'm just
All
saving the
right.
spicy stuff, guys. Y'all need to donate right now.
turn of the
tide.
Done.
And
Give
there
Sarah
it
her
is.
money.
I don't believe trade is the main driver of that, but I'll grant that it does happen sometimes.
Who cares about bringing in money? Okay, the whole idea of running like a business.
I don't really think it's something that you should take. I don't know.
The argument against charging people rent?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, typically the philosophical argument
No,
against
that's a legitimate criticism. Because, I mean, you look at why USA was even invented.
I don't know. Like, I think a recurring theme or a recurring trend is that
Less and less government. I want personal responsibility. I want personal accountability.
Say that I'm like left of liberal. I don't identify as like a communist or alternative stuff. Probably like a why would that be revelatory to know that water boils in?
About people who are diplomats or ambassadors from other.
Did I say that? Did I say that it was theoretically possible to include like it increase?
Natural society is a society where it's survival of.
You can. What you're describing, you can't do. Is, first of all, not what I'm talking about. Second of all, we can't.
So basically, like, even your Lord and Savior Donald Trump didn't do the best job at nature. You refer to it as being conscious, or the conscious community.
So I think that gay marriage at the Constitution and the Supreme Court level actually.
No, but my man just is in the building.
And I find it very interesting that fellow believers are.
Sure, there are examples, but these are minor examples compared to the ones that I'm giving. I'm putting down two.
It's unconstitutional, they shouldn't do it. But now they're arguing about, well, if they do it,
This video with your little blonde hair. Yeah, that's what your mom said last night too.
Let's ignore USAID. That's obviously upsetting you, and I get that because
No, it's not upsetting me.
There's a reason I'm successful. There's a reason why I'm liked.
This is exactly why Democrats